Hello and welcome to the first ever Krystal Archive podcast. I'm Dwight House, your host, webmaster, and Krystal expert. Let's get this podcast started. And as I said before, I'm Dwight House, the creator of the Krystal Archive. I'd like to welcome all the Krystal fans, Star Fox fans, furries, and people who randomly came across this podcast in the iTunes Music Store. Welcome. I plan on having this podcast about once every month, 30 minutes to an hour each month, and perhaps I'll do it weekly if there's more information in that period of time. For those of you who are new to podcasting, I've created a What is a Podcast document on my site in the podcast section to help you understand what podcasts are and get it ready to use and to download and to listen to. So check that out if you haven't already. Since this is the first podcast, I need to cover my bases, especially for those who don't really know that much about Krystal already. So who is Krystal anyway? Well, Krystal is a blue anthropomorphic fox from the Star Fox series of games. Anthropomorphic, of course, means human-shaped animal. They have a basic human shape, but with extra additions like a tail, a muzzle, and full body fur. Krystal has all of these. She has a full body blue fur, a tail, a muzzle, and fox-like ears. And she's very, very popular both among the Star Fox fans and among furries, just in general. She's probably one of the more famous anthropomorphic characters in video games, along with the rest of the Star Fox team. Krystal's appeared in 2 games so far. Star Fox Adventures, which was originally Dinosaur Planet, in which she was completely different. She was, rather than a fox, a cat, and had a completely different storyline given to her. But she was changed to a fox when the game Dinosaur Planet was changed to Star Fox Adventures for the Nintendo GameCube. She's also appeared in Star Fox Assault. She played a much smaller role in that game. And what is the Krystal Archive? The Krystal Archive is my website. It's at krystal.dwightdesign.com, Krystal with a K, of course. It's a place where I record all attainable information about Krystal. It was created by me, and as a fan. It's a fan site, a shrine, if you will. And I'd love to go into the history and how and why I made it, but there's so much new information right now that for this podcast I'm not going to have time, so I'm going to push that to a later podcast, and we're going to go into the news. But before I start with news and updates, I'd like to mention the KLA and Club Krys. The KLA, the Krystal Lovers Association, is a long-running fan forum about Krystal. It was created around the time that Star Fox Adventures came out, so it's about 3 or 4 years old now. It has a very active user base, especially since it was upgraded and moved to Eggman's server, and you can find a link to it in the show notes. It's also at krystallovers.com. And they recently started their own podcast about a month ago, and it's called Club Krys. And it covers the community aspect. In fact, the whole site, it covers the community aspect of the Krystal fandom. I cover the files and the data and the official information, and as well as archiving of fan works like fan art, 3D model attempts, and fan fictions. But the KLA is a great place with a very active community and lots of great people, and that's often the first place you'll find new information about Krystal. And join that forum. It's a great place. I recommend it. So let's get to the news. Oh, well, before I start, this is not actually the first episode of the Krystal Archive podcast. I recorded one about 2 weeks ago, and a lot of the information I'm about to present was also presented in that podcast, but due to some various problems and me not knowing about certain new information at the time, it never got released, and now everything is in it is kind of obsolete. It needs a new perspective. So that will probably never be released, and if it does, it'll be episode -1 or something like that. But I'm basically going to cover everything I covered in that podcast and some more, but I might be doing it in a little less detail. So just so you know, I'm going to try and go really fast through these things. So, news. Now, unless you've been living under a rock for the last month, E3 happened again this year, and there were 2 major announcements about Krystal, or related to Krystal, that are very important, that had occurred at the show, and that is, 1, Star Fox Command was announced. Star Fox Command is the next Star Fox game. It was long rumored that there would be a Star Fox game similar to Star Fox 64 that would come out on the Nintendo DS, and it turns out that's true. Star Fox Command is going to be very much like Star Fox 64 in all the ways that Star Fox 64 was really great. It's going to be mainly controlled with the stylus, and it's going to have reportedly 15 playable characters, and Krystal is among them. Now, whenever the demo version was played at E3, a guy named Tailtyger took some pictures of the menu selection screen where you can choose a character, and Krystal is one of them. So he took the pictures, and he has since allowed me to post them, and you can find them at my site in the image section under Star Fox Command screenshots. And people made a big deal about what she was wearing and her just general shape, because her head is almost twice as big as it was in other games. But I'm sure, this all has something to do with the way the models are designed for a portable platform. And as far as the suit is concerned, a lot of fans have been upset that she's now not only wearing a blue jumpsuit. She was wearing a blue jumpsuit in Star Fox Assault. Now she's wearing a pink one, virtually the same design. A lot of people aren't very happy about that. To me, it looks more purple than pink, but I don't care. As long as she's in the game, I'm happy. I'm already satisfied. So take that as you will. You can find that sort of discussion quite easily on the KLA boards. And then about a week ago, Cassandra Black Fox informed me that the next issue of Famitsu magazine. It's a game magazine in Japan, and they always have exclusive information and really very early reports, things that other magazines won't get for a month or several weeks at least, because they're very close to the developers of the games. So they released a bunch of information about DS games, and one of them was about Star Fox Command. They had a whole 2-page section just for Star Fox Command, and on that section related to Krystal, there were 2 major things. There was one, her actual render, the way she'll probably look in the official released promo renders. Another one was a picture of what appears to be a cutscene in which Fox is looking down kind of sadly, and Krystal's walking away with tears in her eyes, and that's caused a lot of concern in the fan community, because translated, basically what the text says right next to that screen is, Krystal left Fox, and now no one knows where she is. And in addition, throughout the rest of the article, it talks about how the team has split up, and it's just apparently Fox and Rob now. But I'm going to be the optimist and say, what's going to happen is you're going to start out with just Fox and Rob, and then because of the new threat, which appears to be some giant toad of some kind, Fox will reassemble his team as you play through the branching paths of the game. But that's all entirely speculation. We really don't know what's going to happen with that. We certainly hope that Krystal will make as big of an appearance as possible within the game. Today, Mr. Showtime at StarFoxOnline.net posted a video from GC Cafe, and it showed off the menu screen and some gameplay footage from Star Fox Command from the demo version at E3. That's yet another picture of Krystal at the selection screen. in case you needed video proof. That's also in the show notes. Now, the second major announcement at E3 was the announcement of Super Smash Bros. Brawl. It wasn't revealed during the actual first press conference in the morning, but shown later, either that evening or the next evening, to a very exclusive set of reporters. And it was a video showing off the various characters and their differences between the previous one, Super Smash Bros. Melee, and the new one, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And new characters were Wario, Pit, Meta Knight, Zero Suit Samus, which is Samus without her power suit, and a new character, which was the major surprise, was Solid Snake from the Metal Gear Solid series of games. He's the first third-party character to be in a Smash game. And I'm not too happy about that, but that goes beyond the scope of the podcast. Nowhere were any of the Star Fox team members shown, let alone Krystal. And but once the game was officially announced and shown, I started a campaign, the Get Krystal in Smash project. And basically what happened was, when they announced the video, SmashBrothers.com had a quick submit a request form. You could make a request on a character, a song, or just general game mechanics. Stuff you wanted in the game. I did my best and got a sort of bad translation of I request Krystal to be in the next Smash game into Japanese with an online translator. It didn't work out too well, but we had at least 10 people submit that to the request form. The voting it closed on June 9th. They closed the forum, so you can no longer vote or request anything in the game. They're going to continue with the development of Super Smash Bros. Brawl. But at least 3 people were featured that requested Krystal. 2 of them were very passionate about it, and one person one guy said he was going to practice his Japanese. So send him your requests and he'll translate it for you. So those got in there, ours got in there, and at least 3 were looked at very hard because they got included in the featured requests pages. There's they had 250 featured requests, and they sometimes commented on them. So we at least know that they've heard that she's popular and she's wanted, and we have a lot of people requesting her. She's probably considered one of the most likely candidates for inclusion that hasn't already been mentioned, and this has been made evident with the other another news report in an article I made about recent Krystal news, which you can find in the show notes. Go Nintendo reported that the guy working on Brawl was considering all these requests. During this report at Go Nintendo, Krystal was featured as one of the 2 most likely candidates for Brawl characters. Oh, and also part of my Get Krystal in Smash project, in addition to the request form, that's over. We can't do anything more about that, but you can still do one more thing, and that is send me your signature, your real name, signed and scanned in or taken a picture of, or even if you have a graphics tablet, you can sign your name on that and send it me on email, and there's instructions on how to do that on the page, smashproject.dwightdesign.com. As soon as I get the final signatures, I'm going to make a letter, print those signatures out, and send them to Nintendo saying these are the people who want Krystal in the Smash Brothers, because it's a real signature campaign. Online petitions, they don't work because there's no way to verify unique signatures. But here it's a little different. We are actually sending a physical letter with actual signatures of people. I think we'll at least get their attention. I currently have 11 signatures, and I'm hoping for at least 20 before I send the letter. So this is your last chance, people. Send me those signatures. I won't be using them for anything. As soon as I send that letter, I'm deleting them from my computer. No, I mean I have no need or plans to use them in any bad way. That's just silly. I can't even use your signature if I wanted to. So this is the very last call for signatures. Try and get Krystal in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. So please hurry and do that. Oh, and I'd also like to take a minute to talk about Krystal's likelihood to be in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. She's not yet confirmed, but she is probably the most likely candidate that hasn't already been announced as official characters. Because Pit was very likely and Wario was very, very likely. And they didn't get included in the last Smash game. And now they're included. So Krystal is pretty much next on the list. She's very popular. And she's been, and of course they've heard at least 3 times that people want her. Oh, and also she has she can have a very unique moveset. She has a staff weaponry for close combat. She's also telepathic, psychic in nature. They could probably give her psychic blasts of some kind. That would be really interesting as a playable character. It certainly would not be a clone of Fox, like many have suggested that Falco and Fox are in Super Smash Bros. Melee. So we're very hopeful, and so either she's already in it and she's a secret character and they haven't told us yet, in which case her chances of being in it are 100%. Otherwise, I'm guessing that her chances of being in it are somewhere between 60 and 80%. So the average is about 90%. So there's a 90% chance that Krystal will be in Smash Bros. That's just my rough estimate. And so that's E3 2006. Those are the big announcements related to Krystal. Next, we have something I just put out a couple days ago, the Krystal Blog. It just randomly occurred to me that a blog is far simpler to update than both a podcast and just my normal website. So instead of giving you news and information about upcoming updates in the updates part of the website, I'm going to be posting that information on the Krystal Blog, and you can subscribe to that as well. I try to update it every single day with something, even if it's just like one new fan art I found that day or whatever. I'm going to try and update it every single day. And so far it's been 5 days or 4 days, and I've updated it. Put something about it on it every day. Please have a look at that. It's at the krystal.dewatdesign.com/blog, and you can find a link to it on every page of the Krystal Archive underneath the links to the major sections of the website. So I'm really excited about that because it was going to make things easier for me to post things. It's going to make things easier for you because you can get news quicker than every time I update the website, which is not that often. Okay, in other news, 2 artists of note did something recently. Tails Rules, a couple months ago, released his first art CD, and these are purchasable on his website. You can find a link to that in the show notes. And the main thing about it is, in addition to other art, there are 3 Krystal artworks on it. That's why it's of note. There's 3 Krystal artworks on it, 2 of which are exclusive to that CD. You won't find them anywhere else on the internet. So if you want to have your complete collection, you're going to have to get this CD, and it's at his website. And the second major art news is Morningstar. Morningstar, actually, it was about a month ago, 2 months ago. A guy contacted me saying that he had commissioned. It was Tobias the Fox. He commissioned Morningstar to make a highly accurate depiction of Krystal from the front and back to be used as a reference for other art and perhaps 3D modeling attempts and such. And he said, I'd like you to host this because it's a resource to other artists in addition to be a fan art piece. I said, oh, that's great, I'd love to. And so I contacted Morningstar, and we've been talking, and I've got the page up. The page is up there. It's in the articles section. It's under Morningstar's Krystal. It's very, very good, and I really appreciate her allowing me to host that fan art and related sketches. And more will be coming soon. She's still working on colorations of this and higher resolution line arts and just different other things she's working on related to this. It's going to come out in the next couple weeks, and I should have something about those also on that page whenever they come out. And also, if you are interested in getting a really high resolution image of this art, you can. She will eventually be offering full-size versions of this piece, and perhaps even signed by her, printed on 8.5 by 11, or perhaps even bigger sheets, and they could be purchased on her website. I think they're going to be going for $10, but we'll see. She hasn't yet put anything up about that, so look for that in the near future. So that ends our pseudo advertising portion of the show. Let's get on to the actual updates to the Krystal Archive itself. Okay, first off, there was about 2 weeks ago I put up a new article. In addition to the Morningstar's article, I put up an article that's basically the Star Fox Assault script through every level. It's made by a guy named who goes by Kilroy, and he made this whole script on game FAQs, and I emailed him about it. He said, "Sure, you can put it on your site," so I did. I also got his permission to change it so that everything that Krystal says, if Krystal has a speaking part, it's highlighted in purple, so it's easily identifiable from the rest of it. And that's just so you can see what the kind of things that Krystal says during the game, for completion reasons. And then thank you very much, Kilroy, for allowing me to place that on the site. Yesterday and in the past couple days, I've added several new fan arts. We're now approaching 900 fan arts, and I'm going to guess that we'll reach 1,000 clean fan arts in the next 2 months or so. Especially, if she comes out in these next games. If she comes out, I know there'll be a rapid increase in fan art when Star Fox Command comes out, but even more so if she appears in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. It'll just be an insane amount of art. Maybe probably something like 5 a day, which we've rarely seen any other time since she came out, with the possible exception of Star Fox Assault. But I wasn't really paying attention to the fan art scene at that time, so I really don't know. But there's a lot of fan art listed, and I've added a few ones. I've also added one new fan fiction that happened this morning, so go check it out. And related to all this is the Krystal fan art restoration project is now complete. Now, if you don't know what that is, I don't blame you. I didn't really mention it anywhere on the actual site. I mentioned it a few times on various forums. It started out when I found some fan art. I was going through the fan art list with 800 plus fan arts on the page, and there were some missing. And I was concerned because I had never saved any of these. I don't save these myself because, you can always go and look it up. It's in my list, right? Well, wrong. Some of the artists leave sometimes, or their art gets corrupted and disappears from the gallery. You can never see it again. So I went through every single one of those links over a period of a couple weeks, and I found all the missing ones, and I put them in a separate list. So now the 879 fan arts, those are all working links as far as I know since I last checked. They're all working. None of them go to an empty page or corrupted file. And I also, from my own personal self, I've been saving the fan art. So now I have a very, very complete collection of 284.9 megabytes of art. But, and another portion of the fan art restoration project is Devwatching. Now, art comes out all the time. You may not know when an artist does it, because they don't just announce it to the world. Some do. They announce it on the various Star Fox boards, but some don't. So I have gone, and anyone who's ever made a Krystal fan art, even if that fan art wasn't acceptable for the fan art list, I've Devwatched them. I have a check so that every time they do a new art piece or a new scrap, I know about it, and it tells me. And every day I check through them, and I get maybe 50 to 100 fan arts to look through a day, and that's reasonable. I can keep up with that. So the fan art project is complete because I've Devwatched everybody, and so from now on there won't be that much need to go looking, scouring, digging through the internet, looking for new fan arts. It's just to sit back and let the information come to me. There'll still be new ones. I'll still be looking all the time, but that this major restoration project is done, and now it's just a matter of watching and waiting for new stuff to happen, because I'm pretty much updated with all the stuff in the past. And now we're getting towards the end of the show, and I'd like to say a few personal updates related to both me and the archive. Now, it's summer vacation for me. I finished finals a couple months ago, and I would, during the summer, my main plan was, get the videos, the video in the video section of the Krystal Archive, get them all up to speed with a higher resolution codec, lower file sizes, just generally make better videos. And I also had some other projects planned, like a music. I was planning on making a music video about Krystal, and some other things related to Krystal, perhaps a speed run through the Krystal Palace in Star Fox Adventures, because that's the main gameplay experience with Krystal in any of the games. Unfortunately, I'm running out of hard drive space, and I also want the best. I want the best available. Well, I will be getting a new Mac sometime towards the end of the summer. It's going to be an iMac, and it's going to have a bigger hard drive and faster RAM, faster processor. It's going to be really, really great. And that I'm going to wait until I get that to do the new video recordings and edits and all that. So instead of the video updates being the first thing I did this summer, it's going to turn out they're going to be pretty much the last thing I did this summer. So that's coming soon. Secondly, today is June 17th, 2006, and I plan on releasing this podcast sometime tonight or tomorrow. But tomorrow and the next day, on Monday, and perhaps even Tuesday, I'm going to be at the doctor's office doing... I'd rather not get into it, but they're going to be putting me completely out of commission. They're going to knock me out totally, and I don't know what the effects are going to be, and all that. So if you don't hear from me for a couple days, that's why. I was at the doctor's appointment. There might be some complications. I'm not really worried about it. Just so you know, so you don't worry about where I am and why there are no new updates. So that's it. That's about all for this episode. I look forward to doing this again next time. And I really hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Hopefully you decided to subscribe rather than just listen to this one. And I'll see you either next week or next month, depending on the new information about Krystal. I'm sorry if this seemed really rushed and short, because I could have gone into a lot more detail in all of this. But I decided to keep it short this time. And, one more thing before I go. Two more things before I go, actually. Forgot to mention this. One is I'm still working on getting a custom theme. As you heard, the first theme was actually the song that you hear when you play the Krystal Palace in Star Fox Adventures, which is the main area that you play as Krystal during the game, Star Fox Adventures. So I'm still working on getting a custom theme. It's probably a remix of that song, but so far I have had little luck contacting people or getting them to respond to me. It might be a couple more podcasts before I actually get a good theme, but I'm working on it. And secondly, if you want to ask a question or have something talked about specifically on the show, and as long as it is reasonable, I'm very happy to do so. I welcome any feedback you can give me. You can just email me. There's a contact page at the Krystal Archive, and also my email address is in the show notes. It's dwighthouse@gmail.com. Email me questions and stuff, and I'll try and do it on the air next time. Anything at all, as long as it's clean, I'd be happy to do it. So thank you all for listening, and I hope you enjoy.